We frequently said that the last Mishnah in a chapter is very often significant, and very often it carries agadah, or it carries values. Very often it enriches the halacha in the rest of the chapter in a surprising way. And this is absolutely the case with the second chapter of Bava Metzia, which we're going to close today. But before we close it, we need another pasuk. We need another verse, and this is from Devarim, from Deuteronomy, from the Parsha of Ra'eh. Efes ki lo yevacha evyon. There shall be no destitute among you. You will not have destitute people, because God will bless you. So you won't have destitute people. It's an optimistic verse. And the Mishnah is going to quote it. But let's just hold that in our minds. You shall not have destitute people. And let's jump into the Mishnah. If someone found his own lost property and his father's, his own takes priority. So we have to take care of our own stuff first. And his own and that of his teacher, his own still takes priority. Still takes priority. And here the Bartanura actually will quote our verse. Avidator kodemet, and the Bartanura is quoting Maimonides, who in turn is quoting the Gemara. We'll come back to Maimonides in the Gemara in a minute, but let's just look at the Bartanura. Avidator kodemet da'amar kra, because the text says, and now we're going to quote from Deuteronomy, Efes ki lo yevacha evyon. There will be no destitute among you. Hizaher shelo tieh ata evyon. You should be cautious. You should be careful in case you become destitute. In other words, as we're reading this verse, there will be no destitute among you. This isn't, if you like, a prediction as to what will happen because God blesses us. It's a statement that we need to take action. We all need to take action. And we take care of our stuff. We take care of our stuff so we don't become destitute. So to go back to the Mishnah, something that you found, something of yours that you found, and something of your teachers that you found. Let's say they're two animals. You can't take care of both of them simultaneously. Or they're two barrels of wine. You can't carry them home simultaneously. Your stuff takes priority. Let's keep going. So far, we could say this is halakha, but let's keep going. Avidat aviva avidat rabbo. If he found something he found of his father and something he found of his teacher, shel rabbo kodemet mishel aviv. His teachers takes precedence over that of his father. Why is that? Because his father brought him into the life of this world. And his teacher, who taught him wisdom, brings him into the life of the next world. So here now, we're really outlining the value judgments underneath the Mishnah, that Torah somehow is more important than family. And Torah is certainly more important than the day-to-day life of this world. And the Mishnah will qualify slightly. Im haya aviv shakul keneged rabo. If his father was shakul, I've described this as weightier, but I think that there are other versions of the Mishnah which use the word chacham, wise. I think the sense is that his father is a Talmid Chacham. He's weighty in terms of chokhmah, in terms of wisdom. Im haya aviv shakul, if his father was weightier, keneged rabo, than his teacher, avedat aviv kodemet, then his father takes priority. So his father's loss takes priority when his father's Torah takes priority. So let's say his father and his teacher were both carrying a heavy load. He must relieve his teacher and then relieve his father. If his father and teacher were each taken captive, he actually has to redeem, he has to ransom his teacher and afterwards his father. It's an extraordinary Mishnah. It's an absolutely extraordinary statement about the preeminence of Torah over family values. And then the Mishnah goes on about if his father was a Talmid Chachamim, I've translated here as a sage, if his father was a student of the sages, then he first ransoms his father and then ransoms his teacher. It's an extraordinary statement about relative values. And the Rambam tries to climb back a little bit. Again, quoting the Gemara, Da ki afilu lo yifrosh lo zulati dvar echad min ha-mishnah nikra rabo. No, that even if a person explained to him only a single thing from the Mishnah, if someone just taught you just one little thing from the Mishnah, nikra rabo, that person is called his teacher. So we can all teach. We can all be teachers. But he's not obligated to give him precedence or honor more than his father. As regards returning a lost object or redeeming a captive and unloading a burden. Unless he is his muvhak. Muvhak is a genius. It's his distinguished teacher. All the material in the Mishnah about preferring your teacher to your father, or giving more precedence to your teacher than to your father. This applies to your Rabbo Muvhak, your genius teacher, from which you've learned all your learning. And we're going to prove this now from the Torah. And the hint from the Torah that a person must give precedence to himself over anything else. That's because the Torah says, nevertheless, there shall be no destitute among you. The Rambam is quoting our verse, our pasuk. You shouldn't be, you're not obliged to remove harm from another. You're not obliged to remove harm from another unless when you remove the harm from him, you won't bring a similar harm on yourself. You can't, in other words, we are not in the zero-sum game here. You can't take away something from yourself. You can't make yourself poor in order to stop someone else being poor. Because if you're in a situation where by giving the needy person what he lacks, you become poor like him, you're not obliged to give to him. By the way, the Rambam here doesn't say you're forbidden to give it to him. He says you're not obliged to give to him. Your needs come before those of any other person. So that's the close of the second chapter of Bava Metzia, that Torah is somehow preeminent, but nevertheless, you have to take care of your own needs. And making sure that you don't get sick or you don't become poor is it's an important value. It's an important value that we can't forget.